Last video we got the motor installed, so basically the mechanics are now finally out of the way and this is all nicely set up. I'm using this drive which came off my lathe, and basically there are two options, the left hand or the right hand side. And the right hand side just feels a bit too complicated because you've got the star wheel here, and I don't think that's a good location. So it is the left hand side. I'm going to install it somewhere back here out of the way, so I've got good access to the locking lever here. I have the rotary switch, and I'm going to continue to use this, so that will control the on, off and reversing. So we'll wire that into the VDF drive, and the conclusion I've come to is somewhere around about here is going to be a good position for it, slightly back and leaving sufficient room to allow me to operate this and get access to this tool tray. So I've done some sketches which I'll show you, and I'm going to use this aluminium bar to make some supports off here, and I think the next thing to do is have a look at the drawing. Off the side of the drill, which is something like that, and then it's one down here, and then mount off it a something like this, a plate coming out this way like that. So in the background here you can see the blue motor. This is the cowl at the bottom here and the ribs, and at the top here you have the step pulley, and on the side here a rather large connection box which is used for wiring the motor up. So that poses a bit of a problem because it sticks out in this direction here, and that's where I want to mount the VDF. So to get around that, I've made these dogleg shaped brackets A and B, which are identical except that one is slightly longer than the other, and they mount off the side of the head of the drilling machine. This is an iron casting. So they will be screwed in using 4mm countersunk screws, and they hold the back plate here. That's also held in with 4mm countersunk screws, and the back plate in turn holds the mounting plate, and that will give us space away from the side of the machine to avoid the other controls in this position, and also set back somewhat. So that's the general arrangement. In the middle here I've added this spacer to provide a bit more stability, and also so that I can use this assembly as a template for drilling the tapping holes into the casting for tapping the 4mm threads. So had I available to me welding facilities, I would have fabricated this, but since I don't have those, for me the easiest option was to make this out of stock material like this and screw and fit the whole assembly together. Just made sure that we've got sufficient space. This is the electrical box off the motor here, and that goes in and out off the mounting plate here. This is a casting on the machine. This is our little toggled bracket, the top one. The lower one's a bit shorter, and then this is the cross piece here. And I found this box here which was spare, and I bought this potentiometer here, so we're going to use that for speed control. And what I'm planning to do is to mount these one above the other, so it's nice and compact, so we can get these out of this material. 9 inches. So if we cut that off, we'll get these two out of this. Okay, just deburred the ends here. So we've got our two pieces squared off at the ends, and I'm just going to lay out this. So what I'm going to do now is bolt these two together, take them over to the mill and finish off the majority of these sides. It's just the length which is different. So I pre-drilled the tapping size for the 4mm screws, and now I'm using the bracket as a template to drill into the casting. Now, it may not be good practice to fix a component like this to a painted rough cast surface, but it just wasn't worth the effort of taking the whole thing apart and skimming these surfaces. In fact, what I did was just slightly profile the rear face of the brackets to suit the casting. So this support piece that goes between the two brackets, originally I put 4mm thread in there, but I think I'm going to go for 5, and I don't have a countersink for a 5mm countersunk screw, so I'm actually just turning these using the faceplate. I notice these days that faceplates are not very often used, but I actually find my faceplate very useful. It's really quite quick to set up. This gives a nice accurate result. Certainly saves me waiting for a new countersink to come through the post. Here you can see why I made the spacer and why I made it extra thick, to provide lots of stability so that it would hold this assembly together and give me a template for drilling the lower holes. In fact, in the end I only drilled one hole because the face of the casting was too curved to drill two. Now I can open up the tapping holes to the clearance size. Okay, it's taken a while to get this frame mounted. It's securely mounted off the side of the casting here, and it's quite rigid, as you can see. And I put these two bars in here, and off that I'm mounting my electronics. So the inverter goes at the top. I've got this box here which contains the potentiometer. The single phase supply comes up through the cord grip at the bottom of the box there, and then straight through to the inverter at the top. And here behind I have the three phases and the earth to the motor ready to be connected. I've got the original rotary switch here which I want to keep. So in this position we've got off, then we've got forward, and then we've got reverse. So this is the inverter that I took off my lathe, and I'm just getting ready to wire that up. So I've got here the single phase input, the three phase output to the motor, and there'll be no switch gear between these and the motor, so that will be permanently wired in. And then I've got an additional 11 pins here which we can use for control. So pins number 1 and 2 I don't need. Pins 3, 4 and 5 will be used for starting, stopping and reversing, and there's a 12-volt pin here which will then be connected either to 3 or 4 to give us forward and reverse. And then in addition to that I've got pin numbers 8, 9 and 10. So 8 is plus 10 volts, 10 is 0, and then I can put those across a potentiometer and take the center tap to give an analog signal on pin number 9 to control the speed of the motor. So it will look like this. So we've got pins 3, 4 and 5 coming into my rotary switch, and I've figured out which of these terminals I need to use. Now of course this switch originally was handling the mains voltage and the full current to the motor, so it's a very heavy switch, but I'm just using it now for these logic gates. So it's got a very light duty, and I hope that's going to work. I just like to use this because it fits in with the style of the machine, and it's also a nice handy control to have. And then here's my potentiometer, and so I just need to check which of the pins I need to use. I think it's probably the center one is the analog signal to pin number 9. So we've got a wiring diagram now, we've got the frame all set up, and we can start mounting everything. Okay, everything's connected up now, so we'll just give this a quick spin. That's forward. That's reverse. This is speed control. Well, it's been about a month now since I replaced the oil seal at the top of the quill, actually at the bottom of the gearbox, somewhere around about this position. About a week ago, when I came back to this project, there was a small drip here at the bottom of the drill where I used to see oil dripping off. But I think that was probably residual oil which had already dripped into the quill bearings, which are 2 ball bearings lubricated with grease. So I think that was probably just draining through. Since then, I've seen no more oil, and I've run the machine, as you've seen, and I think that oil seal replacement and repair has been successful, so I'm very pleased about that. So as you can see, the cover now interferes with the motor. So the problem is back here. I think you can see there that the cover, the guard for the pulleys, fouls with this cover on the motor. So that's all we have time for this video. Hopefully next video we can get this cover sorted out somehow. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I'll think about that. In the meantime, my coach to student lathe has been shipped from Karachi and is still on its way. So I don't know when it's going to arrive here, but that gives me a little more time to get this project out of the way. And then I'll do a video on the shipping of the lathe and installing it here in the workshop. So thanks for joining me. I hope you join me again next video.